We pulled into Krimskaya in the evening. From Krimskaya, it was possible to branch onto the Chinese Eastern Railway to Beijing, so we disembarked onto the platform. Yeah, I'm not going to Beijing, so... We watched the train pull away, and as the third whistle faded and the train departed, Rosa clambered out of one of the first-class windows and into the arms of a man dressed as a train waiter. They kissed fervently, but after they disengaged, I realized that the waiter was none other than her peasant lover, Jack. They clutched their meager bags and hurried away before I gathered my wits. I cheered, for what is more worth celebrating than young and wily lovers? I approve. Ah. So that. I think I can sell this too. Valuable in Hong Kong, Singapore, valuable in Manila. I don't need those things. Alright. Explore! Am I sure I don't need these things? I'd like to keep the cold climate set, so... We're 510 pounds in San Francisco. Huh. I guess we should plan out our next trip. Alright, the railway trip we can make... Let's make it 3 days. I mean, see, look where we are. We're already on this side. It took me like to day 40 or 50 to get to Yokohama before. So I can afford 3 days, I feel. Because really... The big thing for me is that I think we need to figure out something to do with our money situation. Because we're going to need a lot of money to get on that thing from Yokohama to Honolulu, I can only imagine. There was no moon at Krimskaya, and not even a barking dog marred the silence of the luminous Siberian night. The only lit building bore the Copper Lily at the Artificers Guild. I knocked at the back door, eager to find company to help pass the long, cold night. A dwarf with long black hair, rogued lips, and thick brass goggles opened the door. I bowed and introduced myself as a foreigner, looking for conversation. Welcome, come in out of the cold, then. I'm Nadezhda Yefimova. We walked through a squalid corridor into a round room lit with bright electrical lamps. The artificer sprawled on low sofas and greeted me with beery enthusiasm. A human form automaton ushered me to a seat and handed me a drink with mechanical precision. I accepted my drink with a grin, and the small gears in the automaton's face whirred to produce an answering smile. The hours passed quickly in good company, and we shared many outlandish tales. I complimented their hospitality, and Nadi clapped me on the arm. It has been a pleasure sharing our fire with you, Passepartout. She reached in a pocket and took out a copper medallion with the Artificer's Lily stamped upon it. Take it. Present it to any members of the Artificers Guild, and they will be bound to offer you help. Oh, nice! I thanked them for their generosity and wended my way back through the dark streets, a city lit only by the brightness of the stars and the pale ethereal glow of the northern lights. Medallion could fetch us a good price in Agra. I actually think it would be better to hold on to. their bank is closed. There's no bank here either, so I kind of just need to grit my teeth and bear with this. Worth 2,300 in Agra. But I want to hold on to that just in case, because, as she said, I presented to somebody in the Artificers Guild and things could turn out well for us, so... Yeah, help them clean. Earning £100, which I definitely needed. God damn it. Go! I didn't want to be stuck in a city that had no bank. It just kind of occurred to me in my head. I've spent so much money. We departed Karimskaya on the Trans-Siberian Express once more. Monsieur Fogg, unimpressed by our short delay. We found conditions much as they had been. Our cabin was cold and our traveling companions short of good humor. Yeah, how will we cross the Pacific? The one we choose will decide our route across the Americas. Vladivostok is the home of the Russian Pacific Fleet, and there are no airships allowed in Beijing. Yeah, our funds are definitely a little bit iffy. I'm hoping the trip from Vladivostok to Yokohama will be cheap. Somehow I doubt it will be, but... By the way, how is my relationship with my master? I'm flamboyant, apparently. Don't know what to think about that. We reached Ryouseiken today. Vladivostok, the final destination on the Trans-Siberian Railway, is accessible only to military officials and those with special dispensation. Oh, shit. I don't think bribing is going to work. We hid ourselves away in the candlelit, icon-filled chapel, which I had reconned earlier, in hopes that we would not be discovered. Oh, Jesus. We disembarked amongst crowds of uniformed officers and soldiers. We had traveled over 5,500 miles across the spine of the Trans-Siberian, which covered 1/3 of the Earth's circumference. My nerves were jangled, but Monsieur Fogg had barely stepped onto the platform before he was already plotting the next leg of our journey. I already know where we need to go, Yokohama. Just hope there's a bank here. Please be a bank. Ah, thank you, there is a bank. So how much is it going to cost to get to Yokohama? 250, that's not bad. Departs tomorrow at noon. We probably do want to get out of here as soon as possible because we kind of got here, like, illegally. The military port of Vladivostok looked out over the calm black water of the Sea of Japan and was populated largely by sailors of the Far East Fleet and a mix of Chinese, Korean, and Russian residents. I was curious about the foreign residents and managed to chance upon Du Feng, a talkative Chinese merchant who spoke a remarkable array of languages, including French. "We are not foreigners," he exclaimed. "Good sir, my family has lived in Haishin Y for many generations. Haishin what? I stammered as he snorted with laughter. I kept trying until I managed a semblance of the correct sounds. Fang looked impressed by my effort, at least. Most foreigners have this trouble, he said neutrally, and I was rather abashed. Haishin Y means sea cucumber cliffs. It is the Chinese name for this city of Vladivostok, though once it was called Yongmingsheng, City of Eternal Light. The earlier name is more evocative, I opined, and Feng agreed. Yes, my friend, much is lost with time. The thin evening light had begun to darken by the time I made it back to my hotel, but my adventure here was far from over. An imposing Imperial Army officer accosted me in reception and subjected me to a thorough search. I gave no objection. Oh, the revolutionary pamphlet from Moscow. Oh, shit. This is a banned material, he declared. You will be held for questioning. Frankly, I was glad of the rest. We had been rushing around the world far too fast for my taste. It was time for my soul to catch up with frame. And so it was that we came to spend 5 nights in a Russian military jail, a much more grueling confinement than the relative luxury of the station prison in Berlin. And Fogg is pissed at me. I'm not surprised. The Korean trader departs for Yokohama in 2 days. Oh, god damn it, I missed out. Sell this. Drop the pamphlet, because that got me in trouble. Remove this. Alright, let's see if we can stop at the bank. It'll take too long. So we just need to bide our time. So we're leaving tomorrow. Did not mean to press that button again. Stay of a night. Spent a few nights polishing shoes, earning 46 pounds. And learned that you could pick up candles scented of rose in Manila, extremely valuable in Hong Kong. Well, we're getting out of here right away. We avoided the Russian military ships and instead took passage on a Korean vessel crewed by a mix of Koreans, Mongolians, and Siberians who regarded Monsieur Fogg with grave curiosity. I tried to dismiss their attentions, but it did little good. They continued to goggle at my master in mild disbelief until he retreated below deck with the slightest of furrows etching into his brow. Well, we're still in good condition, I think. Day 33, making our way to Yokohama. So, even though we spent 5 days in a prison, we've been spending most of our days in prison. We're making our way fast, but we're running out of money, so we do need to wire some funds. For the first day aboard, we kept ourselves mostly to ourselves. The crew seemed busy with their tasks, and I was happy to have fewer of those myself. Yep. Greetings, mademoiselle. You know about Yokohama. Connected to San Francisco by boat over 3,000 pounds to get to San Francisco, though. Shit. But if I can just get to San Francisco, I can sell a lot of stuff and I'd be good. People in Panama City will pay extremely well for revolvers from San Francisco. Opening all these passageways. British hang airship pirates in Port Royal. So if I went to Port Royal, I'd probably witness a hanging. Pleasant. Oh! I just need to get to San Francisco. Just need to get there. One of the cabin girls, Elena, spoke good English and was attached to us as a translator, though she created as much conversation as she explicated. Do you know my parents? I doubt it, since I've only just met you. Oh, my father was a Russian officer, maybe, I think, and Mama comes from a famous Cossack family. They're all soldiers. A Russian officer, maybe? I raised an eyebrow. Well, Mama met him when she was dressed as a man and joined the Cossack host. He was very surprised, I think. Mama says he died of shock, leaving me as a present. But I think he probably ran away because Mama is so fierce. She looked proud rather than distressed at this prospect. That's nice. Mama runs the boiler room. All the sailors are frightened of her, she told me rather wistfully. One day I'm going to be like her. She made a mock fierce face, and I pretended to quake in terror until we both began laughing. I would like to meet her, I said. And Elena giggled with delight. I'll ask. Oh, goody. Well, here we go. Elena knocked on my door unreasonably early in the morning, even though it's 10 p.m., eyes bright. Mama says she wants to meet you. Will you come? Lead the way, mademoiselle. We descended into the bowels of the ship. I felt the heat and noise of the engine before I saw it. The rumbling whistle of the boilers, the shouts of men shoveling coal, the thumping of the pistons, and the groan of metal. A woman with muscular arms sheened with sweat and hair shorn to her ears presided over the activity with well-worn confidence. She glanced over to us and grunted. I grunted in return. She gave me a cautious nod of approval while Elena chattered away in an unintelligible dialect. The formidable woman regarded her daughter with a certain detachment which certainly masked deep adoration. The girl bloomed underneath her mama's merest glance. We took our leave soon after, and Elena smiled at me radiantly. Isn't she wonderful? I nodded very enthusiastically, hiding my true feelings. Don't want to hurt her. Don't want to hurt the little girl's feelings. Let's just be straight up honest. Rumblings intensify of Russo-Japanese War. Oh, here we come. Elena laughed as I hung over the ship's rail to get a better view of Yokohama as we neared the port. She gave me a hug goodbye, which surprised me, though her mother watched me with hard eyes throughout our exchange. We weighed anchor as the sun set. It lit the foreign flags in the harbor with bright fires that dipped blue the horizon. And here we are at Yokohama on day 36. Alright, sell that. So, oh, no. We're 3,600 in Salt Lake City, so I do want to get that. Safety harness, and those pills should be good. And this compass. Alright, so what about this Honolulu trip? 650. 3,000. Can't even afford the experimental trip. And I'm guessing we had to sleep outside. No? Alright. Alright, 103 pounds in fees and tips. Thank goodness. My big deal is to get the money so I can travel across. All I need is to get to San Francisco. It was hard to believe that Yokohama was only relatively recently open to foreigners. There was an entire foreigners district not far from the waterfront, where it was as common to hear Chinese or Russian as Japanese. There was a meddling of cultures and clothing styles. Russians arrayed in their rich colors, hoop-skirted British ladies, lately of Bengal or Singapore, Americans who had adopted the coal-like hourie over their shirts and trousers. I noticed a Japanese man watching the scene with a look of intense concentration and scribbling in a sketchbook. I leaned in for a look. He was drawing a stylized picture of the foreign quarters with quick pen strokes, which stopped abruptly as my shadow fell over the drawing. He looked up, clearly irritated. "Do you mind? I'm making a drawing for a woodcut." And so I darted away. Alright, waiting for the bank to open. Even if I had to stay here a few days, that would be fine. Alright, 2 days. I think that's fair enough. Oh, fuck. Alright, sell some stuff because I do not want to be sleeping outside, and by we I mean Monsieur Fogg. He'll get pissed off at me. Alright, let's get our funds. There we go. Now, I can't afford this trip, so let's wait 2 days to take the experimental hover ship. So, if I was to take the hover ship in 2 days, it would be day 41. And then I would imagine it would be like day 44 or so, or day 45 by the time I get to Honolulu. And then maybe like day 50 by the time I get to San Francisco. And then I would try and get in on my previous route to London, which would cost me a pretty penny and a half. I don't know. It's risky. But hey, no risk, no reward.